Alright, so this is a update on that thing. It's a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So I pulled the tank off it because the tank was full of stale fuel. Now this bike is like a 2000 model. It's got 12,000 kilometers on it. It sat for 4.5 years. So inside the tank is quite rusty. It's pointless trying to show you what it looks like inside. Maybe I'll get some photos, I don't know, but we'll definitely look at that in a later video. But to give you an idea of what the inside of the tank looks like, it doesn't look too dissimilar to what this looks like. Now that is the yeah, look at that flake. That is the inside of the fuel pump chassis. I've just got some bolts in there to plug it up because I'm going to put some metal rescue in it. And instead of making a blanking plate, I'm just going to gut this, use this as a blanking plate, put the metal rescue on the tank and hope it comes good. This is the pump assembly. You know, it's got some gunge, but the whole of the inside of the tank looks like that. The fuel has gone stale. It smells super pungent. Rubber seal. The rubber's not too bad. Obviously Honda do good quality rubber parts. But yeah, so this is the pickup filter, and that sat in the bottom of the fuel pump chassis. And then this sat on top of it. Obviously that's supposed to pick up all the dirt and rocks and whatever that get in there and stop it from getting in. So the fuel goes down. Like this sits in that cavity there. The fuel goes down through this stainless steel wool, then gets picked up by this little cloth bag, and then through that up into the bottom of the pump, out of the top of the pump, and it goes through a U-bend through that, which I can only imagine is some sort of really fine filter, and then that runs down through this hose here, which that's split and fallen apart. I couldn't even get that hose off the bottom of there, and then it comes out of there onto the high pressure line, which is attached to the banjo like a brake is. The rubber seal is quite stiff, so it basically needs a new fuel pump. This is the bracket assembly that holds the bottom of that. It's quite a and it's just covered in this really fine rusty sand type stuff. So this flake and stuff, that's already been cleaned up a couple of times. The stuff that's coming out of it is it's like someone chucked a bucket of sand in there. So tip number one, if you have an older sports bike or any older motorbike or a car even, or a lawnmower, whatever, if you put fuel in it and you're not going to use it often and cycle the fuel regularly, put some fuel stabilizer in it. Fuel stabilizer is like, it's $20 for a drum of stabilizer that will do like 10 20-litre tanks, 10 20-litre fuel cans. That's what I do with all my bikes now, is I just put the fuel stabilizer in, treat the fuel, and then I fill everything up from there. That way if I don't ride for a couple of months, the fuel's not going bad. The fuel in this thing, man, it smells super fruity. Almost like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's really sweet, pungent. My whole shed smells like it at the moment. Even though I've emptied the tank out, it's still wafting. So I'm going to use this stuff. It's just I don't know, there's a 5-litre drum. It's not diluted, so you got to buy 4 of these because the tank's an 18-litre tank. So I need 20 litres. That's the minimum I could buy. And then that's going to go in the tank. Little things like the tank. This thing's corroded as. There's lots of flake and shit coming off on it. In there is, I don't know, it's just hectic. So anyway, all that's got to be cleaned up. There is actually still a little bit of fuel in there, but it is quite funky. Wow, that's actually working out pretty good. Yeah, so I'm going to hit that with the highest pressure water that I can hit it with. That's some of the flake in there. I'm seriously going to have to spray the shit out of that to get as much of that flake out of there as I can. The thing with this metal rescue stuff is it will basically consume the rust, right? So you can continue to use it. So if you use it on something that's lightly rusted, you can pour it back in the bottle and use it again for another project. What I need to do is I need to get as much of that flaky rust out of there as I can, because I need to get this done with one treatment. And you've got to make sure it's completely contacted. So my plan is to set the tank up so the fuel cap top is level and fill it up so it overflows and sits into here. And I'm going to have the overflow that comes out of the bottom of the tank. I'm going to have that bunged up and hopefully treat all of this around here. Hopefully it'll come up super shiny. Yeah, winter project this bike, but you know what? It was pointless treating the, it's pointless treating the tank until I'm ready to put fuel in it and run the engine, because what I don't want to do is treat the tank and then let the tank sit off the side and just get rusty again. And this stuff, you can see the temperature alert there. It's got to be above 20 degrees. We're only just coming into days that are over 20 degrees. So, and because this is going to have to sit for like overnight, 24 hours, because it's a pretty bad case of rust, it's just not going to be warm enough. I did think about bringing it in the house and running the heaters overnight and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, you know what, it's really bad, I'm just going to leave it. Plus I've got to buy a new fuel pump before I can put it all back together anyway. So step one today is just going to be get the fuel pump disassembled, get the thing cleaned up, get it prepped. You got to put it in a drum so that if it leaks, it's not going to go everywhere. And then we'll have a crack. I'm also tempted, I've got about 18 litres of vinegar there. I'm also tempted to run some vinegar through it just as a pre-treatment, shake it out, rinse it out and clean it up before I put the metal rescue in, just to make sure the metal rescue cleans it up properly. But the metal rescue is supposed to leave some sort of like an oily residue that's going to stop the rust. So that's the update for today.